Hey, buddies, it's your girl, AyChristene, and today we're checking out Confessions of a Chick-fil-A Employee by Jaelyn. Links down below to become a patron to get the uncut reaction to all the shows and anime we check out. Just like Jaeger Fox. Jaeger Fox. Just like Matt R. Just like Black Ice. If you want to get your name sung out to, then become a patron. Ooh. All right. I still got it. Let's get sorted.
That show are 100,000 million% fake. So for legal reasons, I made this whole entire thing up. The title and thumbnail are clickbait. The story and any receipts I show are 100,000 million% fake. And I've never worked at Chick-fil-A a day in my life. I repeat, I have never worked at Chick-fil-A a day in my life. And this story is fake. So to all the people on Chick-fil-A's legal team watching this, thinking they're about to get a lawsuit out of me, just know you aren't. Because for the 1,000th time, I made this all up. And this story is fake.
I see what she did. I see what she did.
This past summer, aka the summer
this
before I went
past
to college.
Summer,
and
okay.
More than determined to beat the broke college student stereotype, I was hungrier for a bag than ever. And I'd heard through the grapevine that a Chick-fil-A.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't. You got to turn your volume up, baby. You put a jam back on the back end, okay? So I am definitely distracted by the back end. But I'm so excited to see a Black female animator. I love it. I love it. Not saying I never seen one, so people are like, well, there's some that she's not the first. Cut it out. I'm excited. Let me be excited, all right?
So of course I'm going on TikTok to do some research, but every other scroll, I was seeing employees having literal mental breakdowns over working there. And initially,
really?
This, I was just like, please, y'all just being dramatic and aren't
I don't
bad. So
I don't want to pull the curtain back because I love eating their food.
And of course, like Googled and practiced every question, but then the stuff that I was getting asked was completely out of left field. So me doing what I do, I just start pulling stuff out my butt. And I could fill these interviews reading everything and anything that I was saying up. Because every time I finished talking, they looked at each other with their brows raised like, and then start writing stuff down. And in my head, I was just like, So the interview finished, I shook both their hands, and I walked out knowing that the bag had been secured. So and a few days later, I got a text telling me that they wanted me to join the team.
Yes, we want you, boo.
Of course, accept the offer. And a few days later, I was called in by one of the managers to come in and do some paperwork. And during this time, we were talking, and she had asked if I thought I was going to get the job. And I was trying to be a thug about it, but I didn't. And ended up just being like, yeah. Now for some very important context, right? During the interview, I had acrylic nails on, and I'm an extremely expressive person. As you can break down the internet to I talk a lot with my hands, and I was doing all the same in the interview. And then, which again, the lady who interviewed me was the manager. I still had my nails on, and my piercing was visible, and she didn't say or do anything to indicate that they would be a potential problem. And to back when I was doing my TikTok research, I was seeing people work there who had bigger piercings and longer nails than mine. So I was under the impression that I was going to be in the all clear. Anyway, my first day comes.
All right.
When I pulled
Thanks
up
for the
head,
context.
I was just like, I'm so nervy, but in an excited way, you know. However, the millisecond my big toe even hit the entrance, and I saw who my future coworkers were gonna be, my spidey senses were immediately kicking in. Because when they greeted me and told me to wait around for a bit until they were ready for me or whatever, the smiles were more on the culty than welcoming side. And the girl who was in front of me, who we're just gonna refer to as Op, introduces herself to me, gives me my uniform, and tells me that when I go to the bathroom to change, to put my hair in a bun, and also take my piercing out. Not even tuck it in, but take it out. And after I changed and looked into the mirror, which first of all, and excuse my French, you can listen German, right? But I was gonna be serving more in this uniform than food. Like I was serving some serious CUNT. Looking into the mirror.
Okay, I love the level of disclaimers that she's putting in. AI generated video. Oh, I love it. I love it.
I could already see the life in my eyes starting to leave. And all the nerves that were initially out of excitement were now just out of nervousness alone. But at this point, I'm at the bathroom. And before we can start orientation, I had to download this app. But to do so, my phone had to get its most recent update. And because I'm a procrastinator when it comes to that, my phone was not. And the phone policy here was extremely strict. And for the duration of your shift, you're expected to have your phone locked up all the way in the back. Even like a watch for any longer than a millisecond was a big no-no. And for that reason, I had to have my phone face up flat on the counter as it updated. Phone updates, and then Op emails me a link. And again, thanks to the phone policy, the phone was face up flat on the counter as I looked for said email, which for whatever reason wasn't showing up. And Op also peeps this. And instead of, I don't know, trying to email it to me again, this girl starts scrolling through my emails. Now, this wasn't absolutely mortifying to me because I had some top secret info on Area 51 in my emails. My thing was, this girl was approximately 3 scrolls away from seeing a notification of any Area 3 fanfiction that I had bookmarked getting updated. But the email ended up being in my spam folder, converted, and now it's finally time to start orientation.
Don't just be scrolling through my phone.
Me, you have to take your nails off. And the way that she was saying it, she was expecting me to do that on the spot. And excluding the fact that it's impossible, unless you want a bloodbath, that's something that you can't do with acrylics.
Right,
like, obviously in a more polite way. I tell her as much. And she goes, well, since today's your first day, you get a pass. But when you come in tomorrow, they need to be off. Mind you, I was working 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. this day and the same the next. And excluding the fact that I had bills to pay, places to be, just all around things to do when I clocked off that day, it is already so difficult.
You gotta cure cancer. You ain't got time to take the nails off.
Time from that I was being given. Which again, in a more polite and corporate way, I tell her as much. But then I also out on the fact that when I come in on Saturday, which was my next shift after Tuesday, that they'd be off. So as you can see here, I am by no means trying or even being difficult. I'm giving a solution to the problem. I'm putting the conflict resolution skills that I put on my resume to work. And Hope just looks at me and says, well, if you come in tomorrow and you're still on, you're getting written up.
Wait, but
I didn't hear that.
And to those words, I felt my heart slide all the way down to my cheeks in real time. Because
goodness,
I'm not even an hour into my first day on the job,
right?
And
you're gonna
written up
for your nails.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. But from that point on, I knew I was not gonna like this girl, and we were not gonna get along.
This is one of those effed up issues where people ask something that is impossible and expect you to make it possible, and if you do, you are just proving to them that they can tell you whatever they want and you're going to make it happen. You become the magic man. Tell me what you want and I can make it happen. That's exactly the mindset that this manager's going to have.
I'm finally able to start scrolling through the stupid orientation. And let me just say,
I'll take the write-up.
Me and him, we are locked in #AF, but I have to watch 8 or 10 videos, right? And at the start of every single one of them, they would reiterate the purpose of Chick-fil-A and its employees, that being to be the best steward that we could be to Jesus Christ, over and over again, to the point where it was just getting straight up cold. And on the next page, there's a list of words that we couldn't say and what to say in place of them. Now, these banned words weren't cuss words, slurs, or any sort of hate speech. They'd be your average everyday sayings, such as of course and you're welcome. And Op explains that this is because, unlike McDonald's, we actually pride ourselves with hospitality and customer service.
You can't say of course
Chick-fil-A thing, or
and you're welcome.
But even during the interview, McDonald's was catching strays from the managers. But because of how much better Chick-fil-A is than McDonald's, when referring to our coworkers, we weren't allowed to say okay. Instead, we had to say heard, like this was some Gordon Ramsay show. And then the next list consisted of appearance things that weren't allowed to fly. And of course, piercings were included in that. And on the next slide, as reviewed, there is a plethora of images of people. And upon clicking on one, you get a Harvard essay as to what was wrong with their appearance. And at this point, I was fresh out of high school. Like, I just walked across the stage last week fresh and was more than deserving of a break from any sort of required reading. And these explanations were all self-explanatory common sense. So I skipped to the next slide and keep it pushing. And I guess she figured that I couldn't have read all that fast enough. But let the record show, I'm a very fast reader. Finishing 100,000 word A or prefix in one night is slight work for me. But she puts her finger to the iPad and moves it right back to the last slide. And then goes, no, you have to read every single one of them.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
But with that, it was finally time for lunch. And despite not having even done the actual work yet, I was already over this job. Unfortunately,
AI generated is hilarious.
Compressing being emo at, so I had to sit with Op for lunch. And another weird thing about Chick-fil-A is you don't get your own food. You order it, and then your coworkers come and serve it to you, giving you the full customer service experience.
I've seen that.
And all.
I've seen that.
And now it's finally time to start doing some actual work. And I've worked a customer service job before. Needless to say, this was not my first rodeo with the register. However, the job in question was a retail job. And retail and food registers are in completely different cinematic universes.
They are different.
So I'm not gonna lie, it was a tad bit overwhelming. And for once, I was thankful for Op because she was giving him a very detailed rundown of the register. And for the first 10-15 minutes, I was locked the F in. But then she started going over every single possible food combo that could ever exist ever. And the food combo lecture went on for a good, no exaggeration, 45 minutes. But she finally stopped talking, and it was time to get to #work. When talking to customers, I would get sayings from my old job and then modify it in a way that would fit Chick-fil-A, or at least I thought it would fit. What's your name for the order? You can't say that. Oh.
What?
Okay. I can say the next person in line. No, you need to say, I can serve the next guest in line. Will that be all for you today?
Okay.
No. You need to say, how else may I serve you today? Like, everything had to be said so meticulously to the point where it was actually ridiculous.
I have to pay attention now next time I go to see what phrases they say or do not say. Or, that's something I gotta pay attention to.
If we have to keep correcting you on how to say things, you're gonna get written up. Op also wouldn't let me do anything. When
Really?
taking an order, you get every part of that person's order before you ask them for their name. So I would get a customer, start them off, and then she would swoop in, kick me off, and then would get on me for not asking for their name. Even though she wouldn't even let me get that far to do so. I didn't remember saying if it was packed with everybody and their mama up in there, and if people weren't getting their chicken minis in 0.03 seconds, somebody would start getting ghetto. But there would be one, maybe 2 people in line max. Like, this was by no
she needs to
means
calm
rush
down.
hour. I think she had her C blank
op
mixed up, because with how serious she was treating this job, you would have thought it was the CIA. No, girl. This is barely above minimum wage. CFA. But at this point, I'm starting to feel like some serious sugar honey iced tea, and not the Chick-fil-A kind, because I was getting told for the past few hours that I wasn't doing anything right, and not even.
But it's your first day. Fuck her.
Knowing how to do my
Excuse
job
my
on
German.
the first day of said job, I would say my pleasure, but it would never be said with enough enthusiasm. I would smile, but it would never be wide enough. And to add on to the smiling part, when I would turn around to make a drink, my smile would drop, because that's customer service 101 right there, and there had to be a camera somewhere, because the millisecond it dropped.
Whoa.
Jaelyn, why aren't you smiling? Like, this was something straight out of 1984.
Oh my gosh, back up.
Because I definitely read the book when it was assigned and didn't just Google a summary off of Spark Notes.
Hilarious.
My shift is practically over, and Op asked me, okay, so what do you think you did good today? I was good with getting the drinks out quick.
Okay.
Sure.
Wow.
Okay, now, what do you think you could have improved on?
Oh, I hate her.
So I said it. Smile. Yeah. So,
this girl.
We have to keep telling you to fix your attitude and fix your smile. You're gonna get written up.
Attitude.
My first day was
you racist ass motherfucker. Sorry. Whoa, Christine. Whoa. It's giving. When a Black woman says anything, it's just assumed to have attitude and assumed to have negativity and all this other stuff. It's her first day. Calm the down. Gosh.
And I said goodbye to everybody, because if you don't greet all your coworkers when you come in and bid them farewell when you leave, you guessed it. And with a sliver of my sanity still intact, I'm walking out the door, and I hear Op call out to me, make sure you get those nails fixed. And for whatever reason, that was my last straw. One thing about me, when I feel a lot of anything, I cry. So when I'm really happy, I cry. When I'm really sad, I cry. And when I'm really frustrated, I cry. And I was so frustrated, and the whole drive back I felt so conflicted, because I was like, yes, this pay is sexy,
but at what cost?
But what good is it if I come home like this after every shift? And after we crash out on the Finsta and talk with my parents, I made the executive decision to quit. So later the same day, I pulled back up and did right just that. Went in and asked for a manager, and I will say not one person was smiling, but whatever. I sit down with one, and obviously she asked me why I'm quitting. I told her everything I told y'all, and trust and believe I was very much name dropping, and they even said straight up that I felt that if I even breathed the wrong way here, I'd get written up. A day or two later, I came back to return to uniform. On the way home, I got Chick-fil-A at a different location, obviously, duh. And on top of nobody smiling, you would never guess what I saw. Moral of the story, the next time you go to a Chick-fil-A, be extra nice to the employees, because 9 in 10 chance they're getting tortured in the basement. But thank you so much for watching, and stay blessed.
To see, that's super cute. I applaud her. Because I feel like there's like there's 3 choices you can normally have when going through something like that. One is to say something to the person that's afflicting you, because that woman was an affliction. Oh, the op was an affliction. You can leave the situation, and this is the most common, which I think aids to the extreme decline of mental health in this country, or in a lot of countries, because I heard it could be that bad like that in Japan as well. But stay and endure the situation, and silently stay and endure, because that's the part, right? If you stay and say something, that's, you're fighting for yourself, that's fine. If you leave the situation, that can be fine. But if you silently stay and endure, this is the one that is the plague of humanity when it comes to working in situations. And I have done all 3 things. I've done all 3 things in different facets and different times in my life. But I am very proud of her that when she at a young age, right? Because the bravery to do leave the situation and say everything, girl, it took me a while to get brave like that. Okay. But to name drop and everything about the situation. And I don't know if every Chick-fil-A does or does not do this, but I know that Op Heffa does. And I've worked with Op Heffas, okay, before, where they think that they're all high and mighty and you have to do they are just creating. Oh, the creators, the people that create situations to get rid of you or to incite a situation against you. I'm like, next time I go to Chick-fil-A, let me see. First of all, it's not like everybody at Chick-fil-A scowls, but not everybody is smiling, okay? And I do want to know if they say those very specific things or if that's just her putting extra sauce on the situation just because she wants to be in power. And because she didn't get a yes when the girl said, hey, I'm not able to take them off at this moment, but I can take them off. She gave you a day, but it wasn't a day you wanted. So you try to nip it and also talk about, oh, if you don't fix, if we have to keep telling you to fix your attitude or blah, 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 then we're going to write you up. Please. Okay. Please. All right. Let me know which one you are, which one of you have done. And I'm not going to throw no shame at, cause I've done the third one. I've done the stay silent and endure. I have done the stay and say something. And I have done the, all right, I'm out. I'm out. Okay. So I will not give you any shame or judgment if you stayed silent, but I would love to hear from you down below. Let me know which one you are, which one have you done, which one have you went through, okay? Let me know down below in the comment section. Let's get some solidarity down there, all right? Links down below to become a patron to get the uncut reaction to all the shows and anime we check out. I love you guys as always, and until next time, buddies. Toodles!